Once upon a time, there was a lake, a beautiful lake, and people from all over were stunned by its beauty. Some even said that they could see a castle in the lake, but no one knew for sure. It was often said that at night, people with fiery eyes would rise from the lake with evil dogs that would attack travelers. With so many people retelling the story of the lake, it was decided that indeed there was a castle in the lake, and this castle had a king and many retainers who were men that misfortunately fell into the lake. One day, there was a young herdsman who was tending to his yaks by the lake. Parched, he went to sit by the lake, and while he was there, he pondered on his life. Reflecting, he became sad about his mother, a cruel lady. His cruel mother made him work all day and night so she could buy new clothes for herself and eat fancy foods, while he wore rags and ate scraps like a dog. So sad, Rinchen the herdsman became overwhelmed with tears and began to cry. When Rinchen was done wallowing in his own pity, he began to pack his belongings. But all of a sudden, a man in a black chuba appeared at the side of the lake. Magically, Rinchen realized who the man was, one of the king's retainers from the castle in the lake. Rinchen began to panic, and when he was starting to run away, the man spoke. "Why do you cry so?" the retainer asked. His voice was very melodious. Rinchen looked at him, and the man again said, "Come with me into the lake, for the king is a kind man and may be able to help you with your problem." Rinchen became afraid, because he knew if he went into the lake he would not return. But the retainer began to persuade him more and said, "I am one of the king's retainers. I will take you to see him and see that you return safely." Realizing that he had nothing to lose because his mom was such a bitch, Rinchen decided to go into the lake with the man, and their journey began together. The retainer led Rinchen to a beautiful castle underneath the lake. When Rinchen opened his eyes, he was standing in an elaborate hall. At the end of the hall was a throne with the king and all the retainers, who should be dressed in their black chubas, but they were being dry cleaned. Nervously, Rinchen looked up at the king, who spoke and said,
"Why do you come here?"
Rinchen told the king the story of his sad life and how his mother was such a bitch. The king listened to Rinchen's story, and when he was finished, told Rinchen,
"Take this dog, but take care that you feed it before you feed yourself. That is very important."
So Rinchen took the dog and closed his eyes to be led to the shore of the lake. They went home together, and from that day on, the dog put down everything before him that Rinchen needed. Every morning, Rinchen would awake with his obnoxious amount of chests and find that there was barley in the barley chest, and butter in the butter chest, and money in the money chest, and even new clothes in the clothes chest. He was so happy and took great care of his dog companion, heeding the king's instructions to make sure he fed the dog before himself. Rinchen's mother was most amazed of all. She decided to find out this source of wealth, and one day ventured out with the yaks. After Rinchen's mother left the house, he strategically hid and watched like a creeper to see what the dog did to earn all of this wealth. The dog entered the house, went to the hearth, and began to violently shake. And then all of a sudden, the skin fell to the ground, and a beautiful woman appeared. The woman went to the barley chest and placed barley in it, which appeared out of nowhere, and continued to the butter chest and the tea chest, which appeared, and the money chest, producing everything and anything that Rinchen and his mother needed. Rinchen could contain himself no longer from his creeper position, and he came in and approached the woman. Rinchen grabbed the dog's skin and threw it into the fire. The beautiful woman begged him not to do so, but he did it anyway, frightened that the chief's son would see the woman and take her for his wife because she was so beautiful. Rinchen covered her in soot. After a while, Rinchen grew very rich, and with his wealth he grew very bold, saying, "Why do I worry? I have much money. The chief's son will not dare steal that money from me. I can buy weapons and men." Then Rinchen washed the soot from the beautiful woman's face and took her out on the town to show his lady off. While Rinchen and the beautiful woman were out amongst the town, the chief's son saw her and was determined that he would take her for his wife. Rinchen begged the townsmen to help them, but they were too afraid to go against the chief's son. And he could not save his woman. Feeling very upset, Rinchen went and sat beside the lake again and cried again. And just as happened before, the retainer appeared at the side of the lake and said, "Why do you weep this time?" "I have lost my woman," Rinchen replied. And he told the retainer of how he burned the dog's skin and hid the woman from the town. And then he became cocky and lost her. The retainer told Rinchen, "Perhaps the king may be able to help you again." Rinchen found himself once more in front of the throne at the feet of the king and told the king his sad story about losing the beautiful woman. The king gave him a small wooden box with these instructions.
"Take this box. Now, go to the top of a high hill and call the chief's son to war. When he has assembled his armies at the base of the hill, open the box and shout, 'Fight!'"
The chief's son and young herdsman Rinchen were apparently all ready to battle and met. When Rinchen goes to the top of the hill, opened the box from the king and shouted, "Fight!" Thousands of men rushed out of the box and defeated the chief's son's soldiers. Rinchen won back the beautiful woman and took her for his wife. After taking half of the chief's land and becoming rich, Rinchen also became leader of the people and went to the lake to thank the king, returning the box to him, and they ended up being homies. The end! Rinchen began to panic. No, he didn't. Rinchen grabbed the dog's... One more time. Rinchen grabbed the dog's... Childproof fire. Rinchen dragged... With the story retold again and again, it was indeed decided that there was indeed a castle in the lake. Rinchen won back his beautiful woman, and they cut to the chase very quickly there. When he opened his eyes, Rinchen was alone with the dog.